opportunity for someone else to step up and make Team USA.
So we get you to the action straight away. Heat 1, and there is Jenny Simpson, the 34-year-old veteran, really the greatest miler in U.S. history.
Yeah, she is the most experienced and the most consistent athlete in the field. She's never missed a team since 2007. She looks to make a fourth team here, Olympic team.
Shannon Osika. And you'll see Shannon with bib number 1 as she runs. She's been running some really good 800s this year, by the way, but this is the first heat of the women's 1500. A lot of questions about Jenny Simpson. Is there still some pace? Is there still some distance in the legs after all this time?
You know, I think there is. I would never count Jenny Simpson out. She is the queen of the tactical 1500, and as long as she's in that game, she has a shot.
So taking the front is Julia Haymark very early on. By the way, Tokyo standard is 4 minutes 4:20. 4:04.20 is the Olympic qualifying standard.
Yeah, a lot of the women have already accomplished that standard. I think, you know, in these early rounds, we see people kind of shaking off the rust, getting rid of the nerves. You know, Jenny Simpson has told me before that this is the most nerve-wracking part of the whole meet, is these early rounds where you don't want to get knocked down, you don't want to do anything silly that knocks you out of making it to the final.
Bright blue top there on the outside, Heather Camp, the 34-year-old from Inner Grove Heights in Minnesota. She's on that outside lane there. So still Julia Haymark who leads the way. Now Shannon Osika, you see her there second, just easing up into second now. Well placed, and this could be a big meet for Shannon.
Shannon Osika is really peaking at the right time. She ran 4 flat in May, which is an incredible time in the 1500, and she's been running PRs as well in the 800 meters. You know, that was a 68.2 for the first 400, so this is a very conservative race. And we see this a lot in prelims. We're going to see a slow race, and then it's going to develop into a really quick kick at the end here.
Helen Schlachtenhofen on the inside there, hip number 9. Keep an eye on Helen. By the way, top 6, there are 3 heats, so the top 6 in each heat advance to the semi-finals, which are tomorrow night, by the way, and then the next 6 fastest times advance to the semi. So top 6 in each heat, and then the next 6 best times.
Yes, right now this isn't looking early on like it's going to be one of the quicker heats, but we see Jenny Simpson moving out of trouble. She didn't like where she was. She was kind of pointing at people, give me room, and she goes to the front with a slower pace. She wants to get to the front, make sure she's there when this race starts.
And Cara, Jenny has told you before that these heats, this stage of trials, this race is actually the more nerve-wracking than the final.
It really is. You know, you don't want to make any small mistakes here that cost you a chance at making it through to the final. But right now we have all the favorites right packed together. We see Jenny Simpson, we see Nikki Hiltz, we see Shannon Osika. All of the women we expect to make it through are looking good here with a lap and a half to go.
20-year-old Amaris Tenisma of Montgomery, Alabama, takes the lead of this opening heat of the women's 1500.
So they were 2:18 at the 800 meters at the half-mile point there, which is very conservative for these women. I would wager that we're going to see a very quick last lap here.
Nikki Hiltz in the black and yellow. Nikki made the U.S. team for the World Championships in Doha.
Yes, Nikki's been running well. She's been very open. She came out this year as a transgendered athlete, and she's been running well and freeing herself. And here we go. This is what I was talking about. We're going to see a fiery last lap here.
That's Grace Barnett in the blue. So into the final lap. Tenisma leads, but can she hang on? It's Schlachtenhofen is moving into second now. Jenny Simpson.
You know, there was a little contact there between the women, and they're so bunched, they're all waiting. Who's going to pounce? Who's going to pounce? And they're getting on top of each other a little bit.
Simpson and Osika. They're trying to get around Tenisma.
And they're moving now. Look at this. This is so bunched. Now everyone's striving for their position. They only have to be in the top 6. It doesn't matter what time they run as long as they're in the top 6 finishers here.
It's Grace Barnett, the 25-year-old from Pawleys Island, South Carolina, who leads. And then it's Shannon Osika. Nikki Hiltz on the outside of Jenny Simpson.
This looks like a pack of 7 in the front here. One of these people is going to get left behind as we come through now to the finish.
Reminding you that the top 6 advance to tomorrow night's semi plus the next 6 times from the heats. It's Nikki Hiltz in the black and yellow on the outside. Jenny Simpson on the inside. Here comes Jenny. She goes past Barnett. It's Hiltz and Simpson. They'll go through to the semi-finals. Jenny Simpson wins the opening heat over Nikki Hiltz. And Shannon Osika third across the line from Grace Barnett. Lovely finish for Jenny Simpson.
Jenny Simpson, I said, is the queen of the tactical race. You can't leave it up to tactical finishes. She is going to find her way through, and she's going to come through. She is happy about that. She looked good and effortless. She's excited about that run.
So things got a little physical, as you can imagine, on the Bell Lap.
Yeah, I mean, so many good women packed together getting ready for everyone to move. So here we see a little tripping and bumping. That's just natural. That happens when you have so many women together as they're gearing up to switch gears. This was pretty incredible here. Once again, Jenny Simpson always seems to find a way. She finds herself on the inside, which is not a typical move, but she comes through perfectly clear, and she runs away to win the first heat today.
It's worth noting that the time was 4:11.34 for Jenny Simpson, Olympic qualifying time 4:04, but so many of the women in this opening heat, in fact 4 of them in here, have already run Olympic qualifying standards. So, and you'll see the queue there for the top 6 going through to tomorrow night's semi-final. Jenny Simpson opens these trials. The only Olympian in that heat wins the heat. If you were to give a community award, she deserves it during this global pandemic.
Oh, absolutely. Rebecca lives in Bend, Oregon. She was there. She noticed an elderly couple at the grocery store who was too afraid to go in and buy groceries. She went in and purchased their groceries for them.
Heat 2 of the women's 1500, heat 2 of 3, I should say, is underway. Yeah, Rebecca, the elderly couple sat in that car for about 45 minutes, too afraid to get out until they saw somebody that they trusted with their money and their shopping list. And that's what Rebecca did. She shot to national prominence, by the way. You may remember that story on the nightly news.
She really did. And, you know, her message was really to pay attention and be kind to others during that difficult time. We're off to start here, and I see in second place, we see Danny Jones, who ran at the University of Colorado and who now trains with Emma Coburn in her team Boss up in Crested Butte, Colorado. She's been looking good this year.
And Danny is behind Eleanor Fulton, the 28-year-old of Lone Tree, Colorado. Eleanor sets the pace here very early on. Now, again, I remind you of that Olympic qualifying standard of 4 minutes, 4 seconds, .20. There's the full field for you. But it's Fulton and Jones, first and second at the moment in this second heat of the women's 1500.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Fulton is keeping an eye on the clock. That first heat was 4:11, so it's good to know sometimes. You know the time. You need to place in the top 6, but if you can keep the race going a little quicker than the previous heat, then you know you're going to get a qualifier through. And they are a little quicker at the 400 here. They were 67.8 at the 400.
And the reason why Kara says that is because from these 3 heats in the women's 1500, the top 6 from each heat go through, but then it's the next 6 fastest times will make up the semi-finals field, and that's tomorrow here at Hayward Field. We've got 8 days of coverage here from Oregon for these track and field Olympic trials.
They're still really bunched together, but Lee, I can't get over this Lancaster story. You know, she's a full-time lawyer. She picks up running, and then she starts to dream big. She's coached by Julie Benson, 1996 Olympian in the 1500. And she not only qualified in the 1500, she also qualified in the 5,000 here.
She has only started being coached by Julie earlier this March. They only actually met face-to-face this May. So you know, last month.
It's an incredible story.
It really is. And when she told her mother of her intentions of what she wanted to do, her mother said, I'm paraphrasing, don't be silly. These athletes train their whole life to do that kind of stuff.
Well, she knows what she's doing. She's here and she's running well. They were 2:17.3 at 800 there, so just a little bit quicker than the previous heat, which sets them up well in case they need a qualifying spot based on time.
Whitney Morgan in that white top, blue bottom there has moved up into second ahead of Danny Jones. And then you see Alexa Ephraimson is on the inside in blue and green on that hip number 10. That's Alexa.
Alexa was a high school star. She was absolutely amazing. She decided to go pro straight out of high school. She struggled a little bit the last couple of years, but here she is, qualified for the Olympic trials.
Well, good to see her looking so strong because she underwent shoulder surgery last year. So she's back to 100% health, and she is in the mix in this second heat of the women's 1500. You want to be in the top 6 on this final lap coming to the line. And look at this. Sarah Lancaster is in the top 6. The 33-year-old full-time lawyer from Texas has a chance to advance to the semifinals.
Well, that would be absolutely amazing. She certainly does have a chance. They're all bunched right now. Everyone we see has a shot to get through right now. But what a story that would be if we saw her get through.
Eleanor Fulton and Whitney Morgan are first and second. Morgan on the right-hand side of your screen, all in white. Danny Jones, center of your screen, just ahead of Sarah Lancaster. She's on the outside of Fulton now, and Lancaster makes a move to 4th. So Danny Jones, Danielle Aragon is up there. Aragon leads the way on this home stretch. Danny Jones on her right-hand side on the outside. And look who is hanging in there as well. Rebecca Mera. Mera's on the outside in this run to home. Danny Jones may get this. Mera, Lancaster. The lawyer's going to go through to the semi-final, but Danielle Aragon will win. How's the time? To the line in a 4:13. It was a slower heat overall than the opener. But Danielle Aragon, there's Sarah Lancaster. She advances to the semi.
I can't get enough of this. I love this so much. 33 years old at her first Olympic trials. She just went out there and handled all the pressure, ran the race she was prepared to do, and is moving on to the next round.
There's the winner, Danielle Aragon.
Danielle Aragon has had a great year. You know, she outkicked Jenny Simpson just a couple weeks ago to win in Nashville and run a PR. She looked very controlled throughout that entire race and just kicked away a little bit at the end.
There's Rebecca Mera.
Rebecca also got through. That was a great heat. A lot of women running together, shoulder to shoulder down the home stretch there.
There's Alexa Ephraimson. She'll have to rely on her time because she was not in the top 6. However, that woman there, Sarah Lancaster, is to continue this incredible story. So Ephraimson, to follow up on that point, finished 8th. And we'll have to watch the times in this third and final heat of the women's 1500. Stories everywhere. Number, top 6.
This is unusual.
All right, no false start. And no false start.
You know, you really don't see false starts in distance events, really hardly ever, if ever. So this is very unusual. I'm sure these women are caught off guard by this. Now they have to, you know, regain their composure, refocus, and get ready to start again.
Did you see anything obvious? I didn't.
No.
Take 2, let's do it again for heat 3 in the women's 1500 meters. Top 6 go through. By the way, for those other 6 positions based on time, the bubble mark at the moment is 4 minutes 19.81. I'll remind you of that a little bit later as Ella Donahue on hip number 1 takes the early lead, the 23-year-old from just up the road from Portland, Oregon.
Yes, and Prieur St. Pierre follows right behind her. You know, she just wants to stay out of trouble. You know, she has Olympic medal hopes. She wants to stay out of trouble in these early rounds and make sure she gets through. Next to her is Sinclair Johnson, who is a member of the Bowerman Track Club, which we'll be hearing a lot about during these trials. They train in Eugene, Oregon, coached by Jerry Schumacher, Pascal Daubert, and Shalane Flanagan. Shalane says that Sinclair is more of a developmental athlete. She's very young, and it'll take her a couple of years to find her stride, but she has run quite fast and has great instinct.
I think there's been a lot made, you know, over the past couple of years of Ellie Prieur St. Pierre's upbringing. She's a farm girl from Vermont. And I think in the early days, I'm not sure how she felt about that. Now she wears it as a badge of honor.
Oh, absolutely.
Because she worked hard as a kid before going to school in the morning, milking as many as 40 cows. It was hard work, and it was character building stuff. It's been the infrastructure for the athlete that she is.
Absolutely.
And the harder it gets, the longer she's going to hang in there.
For sure. You know, she grew up working on a dairy farm, her family's dairy farm. She married a dairy farmer. She's proud. She knows that made her strong.
So Ella Donahue still leads the way on the inside there. And the reason why we said right at the very beginning of this about Ellie Prieur St. Pierre being the favorite, not only for these trials, but being a medal contender in Tokyo, is that the Tokyo standard just to go is 4:04, right? 4 minutes 4.2. Ellie has the 2021 best at 3:58.36. She has been in phenomenal form, and I really think the turning point as Corey McGee rockets to the front, the real turning point for Ellie was last year in New York at the Armory at the Millrose Games, where she broke that indoor mile record. She didn't just break it, she smashed it. That was a considerable turning point in her career, and she has not looked back since then.
You know, I asked her coach about that race. I said, do you think you could go after Mary Slaney's record? And he said, no, we were looking for something around 4:20. So they surprised themselves, but he knew her training had been going well. And Corey McGee now, she is a veteran in this event. She's raced many times, making the World Championship team in 2013. She sees that the time is a little slow here, and so she's going to take it and press. We've heard that it's quite windy down there on the track, and so you see a lot of women wanting to sit back and let the wind be blocked for themselves.
We're a little shielded where we are. We're right up on the top floor of the stands and tucked up under this amazing roof, this translucent roof, and covering as Corey McGee in her third US Olympic trials leads the way in this third and final heat with Ellie Purier St. Pierre on her outside.
Also there is Anna Camp-Bennett, who was a surprise NCAA winner just a week or so ago in the 1500 meters. She upset Sage Herda to win that title, so she's hanging in there well.
Top 6 on this final lap will advance to tomorrow night's semi-final in the women's 1500. McGee, Purier St. Pierre, first and second.
This is so bunched right now. As you see, they're stretching across the track. Usually they're falling in line behind each other, but they all want to have that position. They don't want to be boxed in when they take this turn to head for home.
A 25-year-old from Peabody, Massachusetts, Heather McLean, moves into the mix now. Look at them, 3 wide, coming home.
McLean and Purier St. Pierre train together.
In the background, too, is Lauren Johnson. Lauren Johnson has a shot at making the top 6. Ellie Purier St. Pierre now picks up the pace to take it home. How does it compare to the previous 2? As Ellie wins heat 3, 4:11.78. And that's more on pace with the opening heat won by Jenny Simpson.
The last 400 of that race was 62 points, so that was a quick finish for these women. I'm sure that Purier St. Pierre is just relieved to be through this first heat. She got through with her teammate who she trains with, Heather McLean, who's very fit as well, and it's just relief at this point to get through to the next round.
They finished 1-2. Purier St. Pierre and McLean. This is how they came home.
On the home stretch here, there's branched so far apart here. Everyone wants to make sure they have room. No one wants to get tripped up. There was a clear set of 6 here, and they all get through. We even see Eccleston here coming through in the back. So they're all stretched out, and at the very end, Purier St. Pierre said, you know what, I'm going to take it. I'm going to stride out a little bit and take this heat, take the win.
Well, Amanda Eccleston knows what it's like to miss out at the US Olympic trials, so she was going to make sure that she was at least going through to the semis tomorrow night as she came home in the top 6 to guarantee her spot tomorrow night. So based on that fast speed of that third heat, all 9 in that heat will actually advance to tomorrow night's semi-final. Lewis, that was a quick one. Here's Lewis Johnson.
All right, Ellie, with great expectations is one thing, but coming out and negotiating these early rounds is something different. How did you approach this first pre-lip?
You know, I just took everybody really seriously and knew that, you know, you can't just show up and get through. So, you know, we just try to make it honest and finish in the top 6.
See, Heather, you guys are teammates.
Yes,
so
we
what's
are.
it like to share this experience together?
It's honestly amazing. I couldn't think of better people to be here with, and me and Ellie are like best friends and teammates, so getting to do this together is just an honor.
All righty, congrats. We'll see you guys in the semis, okay?
Thank you.
Lee?
Good work to get themselves into the semi-final. That's tomorrow night, but you know.